Hello, this is Anvati. Welcome to the news with NDTV. It's Monday, June 23rd, and coming up in today's episode. Why is Jagan Reddy booked by police after his vehicle crushes supporter to death? Trainee pilot accuses senior Indigo officer of casteist slurs. Deadly US strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. And Shashi Tharoor's latest support for PM Modi. YSRCP chief and former Andhra Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy has been named as an accused in a fatal road accident where a supporter was crushed under his vehicle during a road show. The man later died from his injuries. The incident occurred in Sattanpalli in Palnadu district recently. He visited Retanpalla to call on a family member of a YRCP leader who had died by suicide a year ago. The former chief minister's vehicle went through a road where a large crowd had surrounded Reddy's vehicle as a show of support where a man came under the vehicle. However, YSRCP party chief Reddy continued the rally apparently unaware of the accident as reported by Times of India. Quote, after analyzing various evidence, it was found that the deceased was under the vehicles of Jagan Mohan Reddy's vehicle, unquote, the Guntur district superintendent of police, Mr. Satish Kumar, addressing a press conference, said on late Sunday. Chili Sengaya, 65, was reportedly run over by Reddy's vehicle on Wednesday when he slipped and fell off the vehicle trying to shower flowers on Reddy. According to officials, the man's neck was crushed under the vehicle's front right wheel and he suffered severe bleeding injuries. He was rushed to a hospital but was declared dead by doctors, SP Kumar said. A case was initially registered under Sections 106(1) of Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, causing death by negligence based on the complaint by his wife at the local police station. After analyzing CCTV footage, drone visuals, and circumstantial evidence, police confirmed that the deceased was run over by the ex-minister's vehicle in the convoy, the police stated. Following this confirmation, police altered the case to include Section 105, culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and Section 49 of Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, abetment, and intensified the investigation into the circumstances involved. Singya unfortunately fell down in front of the convoy and was fell over, the SP told the Indian Express. The TDP and State Congress have accused Reddy of callousness. The YSRCP claimed the video is doctored. Other accused include Jagan Mohan Reddy's driver Raman Reddy, personal assistant K. Nageshwar Reddy, senior YSRCP leader YV Subbareddy, and former MLA Perni Venkatramaiah, as well as former minister Vidadala Rajni. The names have been added in the accused column, said SP Kumar, adding the legal action will be taken according to due process and applicable provisions of the law. Alleging casteist insults at work, a trainee pilot with Indigo has accused 3 senior officials of telling him he was not fit to fly a plane and, quote, must stitch shoes instead. The 35-year-old, who belongs to a scheduled caste, has filed a police complaint as well. An FIR has been registered against Indigo officials Tapas De, Manish Sahani and Captain Rahul Patil under the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. Indigo has termed these allegations baseless. The complainant first approached the police in Bengaluru. The cops there registered a zero FIR, which is an FIR that can be filed in any police station irrespective of where the crime took place. This FIR has now been sent to Gurugram, where Indigo is headquartered. Indigo has addressed these allegations by basically claiming, quote, Indigo upholds a zero-tolerance policy towards any form of discrimination, harassment, or bias and remains firmly committed to being an inclusive and respectful workplace. Indigo strongly refutes these baseless claims and stands by its values of fairness, integrity, and accountability and will extend its support to the law enforcement agencies as required, unquote, a spokesperson for the airline said. In his complaint, the trainee pilot referred to a meeting on April 28th at Indigo's Gurugram office. He alleged that during a 30-minute meeting, he was told, quote, you are not fit to fly an aircraft, go back to stitch slippers. You are not even worthy of being a watchman here, unquote. He said the harassment was aimed at forcing him to resign. According to the complaint, the harassment began as soon as he arrived at the office, which day allegedly ordering him to leave the phone and bag outside in a demeaning manner, according to a Times of India report. Quote, his instructions set the tone for the abuse that followed, the trainee pilot said in his complaint. He has also alleged that he had suffered professional victimization through unjustified salary cuts, forced retraining sessions, and unwarranted warning letters. He said he has raised the matter with higher officials and Indigo's ethics panel, but no action followed. Eventually, he was forced to file a police complaint, he said. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, who led the ruling BJP's anti-terrorism diplomatic outreach to the United States, Brazil, and 3 other nations last month after Operation Sindoor, has called for more support for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's energy dynamism and willingness to engage with other countries, and labelled it a prime asset for India on the global stage. In an article published by The Hindu on Monday, Mr. Tharoor said that the outreach, 7 across party MP delegations visited 32 countries, including the US, the European Union, and the member nations, Saudi Arabia and Russia. And this was a moment of national resolve and effective communication, affirmed that India, when united, can project its voice with clarity and conviction. He said these delegations explained the calibrated and measured nature of India's military response to the Pahalgam terror attack, underscored Pakistan's continued links to terrorism. He specifically referenced the crossover of Indian and Pak delegations in the US and said, quote, even as the Pakistani delegation was simultaneously present, we found US representatives echoing our concerns and urging decisive action against terror groups. Our arguments, grounded in facts and consistent advocacy, were reinforcing the legitimacy of India's position. Quote, we consistently highlighted the severity of the threat from across our borders, aiming to build global consensus to hold perpetrators accountable, unquote, he wrote, calling the outreach a success. Mr. Tharoor was one of a dozen opposition leaders who was part of these delegations. The list includes high-profile figures like Mr. Tharoor and some others from the Congress, as well as AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi, the Shiv Sena's UBTs, Priyanka Chaturvedi, and DMK's Kani Mohi. The Thiruvananthapuram MP selection increased friction between himself and his party. The two already have a frosty relationship in the public eye over several issues, including continued positive words for the Prime Minister. That friction has led to the talk of a blockbuster political switch, which could mean the 4-time Lok Sabha MP and a veteran Congress leader, who was also a former top United Nations official and a former External Affairs Minister, was preparing to jump from the Congress to PM Modi's side. In fact, after news of his appointment to lead the US-bound delegation, arguably the most important of the 7, sections of the Congress called him a super spokesperson for the BJP's publicity stunts and accused of flattering Prime Minister Modi. However, Mr. Tharoor has repeatedly dismissed talks of a switch, insisting he could not swap the Congress for the BJP. Speaking to NDTV last week, he again played down any friction with the party, calling such incidents differences of opinion with only some elements of leadership. When NDTV asked him how he would define his relationship with the Congress today, Mr. Tharoor pointed out he had been loyal to the party and its ideology for the last 16 years. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has said, and I'm quoting, the Zionist enemy has made a big mistake, committed a big crime, it must be punished, and it is being punished right now. In his first reaction after the US bombed Tehran's 3 key nuclear facilities, and he said that the punishment for the enemy will continue. Khamenei also shared a picture of what looked like airstrikes. There is a skull at the center of the image with the Star of David on its forehead, a symbol of the Israeli flag generally representing both Jewish identity and Judaism. Khamenei's comment comes a day after Tehran used its biggest missile capable of carrying the heaviest payload in its attack on Israel, hours after US's attack. According to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, they launched at least 40 missiles after the US action, including Khorramshahr 4. Earlier on Sunday, Khamenei's aide, Hossein Shariatmadari, had warned of retaliation without delay and threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. Quote, it is now our turn to act without delay. As a first step, we must launch a missile strike on the US naval fleet in Bahrain and simultaneously close the Strait of Hormuz to American, British, German, and French ships, unquote, he told Iranian media. The tensions between the longtime enemies Iran and Israel escalated after Tel Aviv launched what it called Operation Rising Lion, which Iran calls unprovoked, against Iran's nuclear facilities on June 13th. Tehran since then has been responding with a barrage of missiles and drones that hit Israeli cities and towns. The US on Sunday joined Israel's conflict against Iran by bombing Tehran's three nuclear sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. One of the Iranian nuclear sites, Fordo, was Iran's most secretive and heavily protected nuclear facility, according to many reports, which only the US had the firepower to destroy, it claims. The strikes were carried out by American B 2 stealth bombers using 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs, 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles, F 22 Raptors, and F 35A Lightning fighters. In his first message after the attack, Trump warned Iran and called him the bully of Middle East to make peace. Quote, "If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. If peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes." That's all for today. You were listening to the news with NDTV, your daily newspaper and TV bulletin wrapped in a compact podcast. If you want to catch up with the day's events in a hurry, do remember to subscribe to the News with NDTV on Apple, Spotify, and the NDTV News app. This is your host, Anviti, signing off.